Today I'll be talking about diversity in free software communities based on my experience on maintaining a hackerspace in Tirana for about 5 years. And I would be very happy to share to you the challenges that we've had in order to keep it alive and in order to make it grow day by day and having more diverse, and also some opportunities that people can use in order to get more into the free software and how to share their contributions. So I am Kristi, as you know, and I was born in the country with the highest numbers of bunkers in the world. So if there is any of you that maybe knows, but it is very rare to know this fact, but I was born in Albania, in Tirana. So our communist system left around 750,000 bunkers in the whole country, which means that it was actually firstly thought, so in order that other countries would come and occupy us, we would be safe and we would just hide in the bunkers, and everyone would be alive and happy after that. Before I start to talk, I really want to know any connection between the country that I come from and the country that I'm going to have a talk. And I was trying to find something online on the relation between Albania and Czech Republic, and it was hard because I could see some information regarding embassies and stuff like that. But the most important fact that I actually know, and the generation of my grandparents told me, that they know to speak Czech because most of the majority of Albanian students during the communist system came in Praha to study. So we have a big number of people also talking in your language, and the connection also between the two countries. I started my FOSS journey actually in Mozilla. I was part of their diversity and inclusion team in order to grow that more, and I've been working on specific programs there, especially on getting people to be more familiar with the websites and with everything that it's not in their first language. So it's not only for people that their English might be fluent and that they feel comfortable, but also for people coming from different nationalities. And currently, I work in GNOME Foundation as the program coordinator, and also been part of all the ecosystem of it and how to grow in the volunteering level. So before starting and talking for the diversity, I think that we should really see on how the community is built, because in order to have good representatives and in order to have good numbers of people joining the community and having it diverse, it really matters to be a good community and a healthy one. So before starting a community, in my experience, I also go and check for the historical background. I will give you a very short example of my country. As I mentioned, we have been in communism for 50 years, and when I first went to people to approach them to be part of our hackerspace, they were terrified by the idea that the things will be volunteering, because our parents and the generation has taught us that if you work for free, that it's not good, because this is what their history and their experience would tell them. Also, another thing that I really want to highlight is that it doesn't matter whether in FOSS communities you come from a technical or from a non-technical background. All the knowledge that you have will be really, really helpful for everyone. So personally, I have finished my bachelor degree on diplomacy and international relations, and I really find it very useful having people also from history, from geography coming and joining us. For example, localization is a very wonderful way on getting to contribute in free software. And even if you think that it requires technical skills, there are many, many fields that you can actually contribute and feel comfortable. So when you first join a community, you're really afraid on what to do. Am I doing it right? Or where should I first start to contribute? So having someone helping you in your baby steps, it's really important to get going. and to also know more about the projects. Working in groups is also a very good thing, because in this way you can collaborate, you can talk more, and you can share your experiences, and that would be actually a very good way also to start. So when we were struggling to find people, recruit in our community or to reach out, the best thing is to go to the groups of people that you think that has no connection in IT. Because you think that they will be less interested, but actually they are the kind of people that have the highest interest in IT, from my experience, because it's something very new to them. So we've reached out to communities talking about feminism, and there were women there that actually wanted to know more about how to feel secure online, about the privacy. We've been reaching out communities talking for the LGBTIQ, and that's a very good way also for them to get into this field and to know more about the technology. And it's important to express, especially for me, to express yourself in the short way and not boring, so people won't just leave because they had too much. So it's really cool when you keep it short and you give to people the exact information that they actually need without overwhelming them in the first days. And definitely there are some topics that, from my experience, they always end up not very well. For example, talking in the communities, in the free software communities, about religion, it is one of the things that really makes the situation a little bit uncomfortable, because there are diverse number of people coming from different backgrounds, coming from different places, that they see specific topics in their personal point of view. So talking, for example, for religion, or also another thing, talking about political parties, has always lead to some awkward situations that we had to go and to make it floating and to make it a little bit more uncomfortable for everyone. So in order that you do not like to have many, let's say, adventures in the community, I highly suggest topics that really go deep in the heart of people and that they do not like to compromise those things. But coming to the diversity, the numbers are definitely not well. From the survey that was done in 2002, the number of women actually involved was 1.1%. And the same survey was done again in 2011. The number, as you can see, is increased in 11%, but that's definitely not the number that we would like to see when it comes to women in tech and to having more diverse. And what is really sad and really not nice to have is that only 1.5% of those developers identify themselves as women, which you can see a very big gap between the numbers. And so to not actually take it just not only in the FLOSS communities, also in the tech industry, just to get like more overall point. At Google, for example, women make up only 30% of the companies overall. At Facebook, 15%, and at Twitter, it's only 10%. So I'm having just like a general point of view. So it's not only for the FLOSS communities that the numbers actually are very sad, but it's also it's like a trend that's also in big corporations and big communities. From talking more to women, especially in my hometown and in places that I've been, they had few things that they really didn't feel comfortable in communities, and that also personally I've experienced, is the social expectations that people do not really connect in the first time being a woman and also being in tech, but they feel like there are people that actually feel more connected as being a woman, and then you should go and do the chores, and that's what women do. So these are the stereotypes that, from what I've seen and from my experience, really step back and make women feel also uncomfortable in specific environments. And there are also many opportunities in order to get to get more into the floss, like it's outreachy. How many of you have heard about the outreachy program? Okay, it's a 3-month internship that it's a paid 3-month internship that is for women actually in floss. It lasts. It actually happens 2 times per year, March, June, and then no, sorry, it's May, August, and then it's December, March. And you can contribute and you can apply in different projects and in different organizations that actually are part of the outreach. It's also Google Summer of Code. It's a 3-month paid internship also as well that happens during the summer. The differences between the project is that the Google Summer of Code it's more technical, so for students that have technical background, and outreach is also for people and that do not have technical background but come from social fields as well. There are also other opportunities. There is Mozilla stands for the inclusion. It is the diversity team. They do also offer internships and different opportunities in order to come and to be part of the community. There are GNOME internships that are part also for the mostly for the privacy and for the security related. So in case that you'd be interested, you can definitely come and join. And there is also a list of the contributions and of the fields that you can feel probably more relaxed to contribute, like for coding, translation, marketing, design, project management, QA testing, and user research. So regarding the local communities, this is actually one of my favorite points, because I know that how hard is to get a local community going, especially when the community do not, for example, have enough funds to pay the rent that they are staying, or when they are in the baby steps that they would like to know more, but they are not on the point that they would love to be. So this is actually a picture from the local hackerspace in Tirana. And what's funny and what's interesting in our community is that the numbers are like this. In Albania, the majority of students studying IT are women, and we have less men joining IT sector and more of them studying social sciences. So when we first get to start at the hackerspace, after 3 months, we saw a room full of women and few men, and we were like, what did we do to have this? And we saw that this was not just a day, but this was a constant thing that was happening all the time in our community. And what's really interesting and what happened after that was that men were feeling then on the other side, like having events and organizing events, for example, with 80% women and being less men. They started to come less and less because they didn't feel very comfortable joining a situation like that. So this is the situation. I know that it's not something spread, and I know that it's just in specific countries. From my conversations with people, this is kind of the situation in the eastern part of Europe. So also in Balkans, in Kosovo, Bulgaria, in Croatia, they have a lot of women actually studying IT. And few things that has really helped the communities and the local communities to grow are creating a code of conduct, because making people feel comfortable in the environment that they would like to stay, it's really important to express themselves as they are without any barrier. Value all contributions, those that I mentioned before, those that do the code and those that do the translation or the documentation are very important as well. Organize events and conferences. So now in the moment that we are talking, in Albania, in my hometown is happening the Open Source Conference Albania. So one of the ways to get people and to attract people is by organizing events. Like, for example, this is a very good example, the one that we're now, because they will know more and they will get socialized and get to know more people to explain the main points and everything that they would like. And also recruit diversity. reach out different communities. This is the advice that I would definitely have regarding improving the local communities. And also presentations in universities or in high school, it's also a very good way to get more people. So thank you very much for being in my talk. In order that if you have any question, please feel free to write me. I'd be very happy to answer you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Stay with me on the stage. We would like to take a few questions. So we again can take the questions via the app. The app is actually very cool for other reasons too. One of those is that I received a notification that pizza is on its way. And you, everybody, like if you have the app, you know already. Another is that you can already submit some comments to the speaker that the speaker can read after the conference. I think it's a very kind way to actually join with some comments that you want for the speaker. There is one comment actually just somebody just telling that the connection between Czech Republic and Albania is even like stronger, saying that Albania, alongside with Romania, were the only two countries in Warsaw Pact that refused to participate in the occupation of Czechoslovakia in 1968. So the connection and like the nations supporting each other, this is really beautiful. And I think it nicely illustrates that like in open source communities, we are also there to support each other and to do something together. So for the questions, so let's start with the questions from the audience. Or I can start with a question and you then join me. So you audience, think about some questions. So for me, this is actually quite a big topic because I can see that for women, there are many things why they feel that they need support. Which kind of support you feel is like most effective? Because there are different things you can do, but of course some work better, some worse. I'm wondering what works in your community.
Okay, so one of the challenges that we actually see is that when women join us, in the beginning, they have a lot of doubts whether they can do it, whether they will be successful, whether it's actually the place that they belong to, or probably they need to do something else. So talking to them and actually supporting them that this is something that everyone can do and that you do not need, to have specific skills, but it's something open to everyone, really makes them very uncomfortable that you can actually reach. And also showing them examples that also people that do not have studied IT, that they can do it, really helps them on support to actually contribute. It was really interesting when we went in the University of Foreigner Languages. We wanted to recruit students to help us with localization of few softwares. And in the beginning, they were so scared to join us. I mean, they were like, maybe we won't understand anything what those people will say and will talk. But then when they came, that the situation was very chill and relaxed and everyone could just talk and participate. So
this is very good. I can identify with this experience from my experience in Czechitas, because in Czechitas we do coding classes, and even if these are really introductory coding classes, some girls just don't sleep the night before just because they are kind of afraid of the stuff what's coming. So will I be able to do that? How will it be? And actually after the event they come and say, oof, I'm so glad I did it. I think that these initiatives, what they do for girls is also that they show them that they are able of things that they believe that they are not able to do. I also wanted to ask, like in Albania, do you have some like big role models, like women that you bring to girls when you want to show the big role models?
No, unfortunately, we don't have. We do not have a lot of kind of like these kind of invitations, because tech actually came a little bit earlier in my hometown other than in other countries. So it's something, that actually started more in the beginning of 90s, and it's not a very, very developed, thing like it might be, for example, in Germany, in France, or in England. So I think that we are now creating the first generation of, experts and really good people in the IT sector, and also women.
Yeah, so you will be one of them. I mean, I think that it's actually very important for women to become allies of these kind of initiatives. Sometimes it's not easy because some women who are already expert, they not always understand why we should have different measures for girls, but it's so important to actually help the courage and to let them feel included in this sense. Some question from the audience. Yes, thank you. Over there, yes.
That's a big...
Sorry, maybe I lost it. You talked about mostly adult women, yes, that say would like to participate in IT and you help them. But did you do something for younger girls? My problem was that in a school, all teachers said...
Just take the closer the mic. Yeah. It won't do
like
the
that?
echo.
Yeah, my problem was that in a school, a lot of teachers said that math, physics, IT is not for you girls. You must go to study literature, some philosophy, and so on. I think the problem is mostly from here. Girls, not how to say, they don't see bonuses to study math because they have no motivate in school.
Yeah, so before a few days, I think I read a quote saying that the education of a child starts 20 years before the child is born, which means that the education should start from the parents, from the grandparents, and from the other generations. So the children will be raised with another perspective. Actually, this is very true, and this is unfortunately, what teachers also do in other places that I've learned. And this is one of the reasons, actually, that we've tried a lot, and as I mentioned, to go in the high schools or in elementary schools to start lobbying, let's say, to approach more students or more pupils coming from schools, and also letting them know that you can definitely do it. But one of the things that I really see as being very important is also creating groups or creating organization for young people or for kids to start coding till in an early age, and they can get used and they will be raised with the idea that women and men can actually do the same thing with the same quality without any differences. But I can totally get your point, and I can see that unfortunately this happens a lot. And actually this is one of the things that I experienced, because I mentioned that I started diplomacy, but I'm doing my master's now for cryptography and ethical hacking. And when my university got my bachelor diploma, they were reading, okay, international relations, politics of Balkans, United States of America, so subjects that were nothing related with the IT. And I could really see the stereotype and the hate in their eyes, like, what is she doing here? She's not gonna make it. And so just, go there and actually proving them that they're wrong. It's one of the best, first of all, it's one of the best feelings in the world, but it's also one of the ways that you can also grow yourself within, and you can, say that I can do this, and I can continue to do this whether I'm a woman or man for a specific field. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I actually see the change happening. So there are some beautiful surveys, for example, showing that 10 years ago, when you ask a little girl to draw an engineer or a scientist, she always draw men. While here, they are more likely to draw women. If they are women, it's actually biologically more natural that they would draw women, but some time ago they didn't do that. Now they do, so the things are changing. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.